you guys, welcome back to Lily Reads. It is Black History Month. No, that is not why I have an afro right now. I am going to put braids in my hair. That's why I have an afro. But it is Black History Month, and it is also the month that Toni Morrison was born. Toni Morrison's birthday is on February 18th, and I decided for a vlog, I am going to read one Toni Morrison book. Of course, I chose a short one because I do not want this vlog to be long and I want to be able to finish this book. So we are going to read Recitative by Toni Morrison. This book was published after Toni Morrison died in 2019, and I just want to read it. What excites me so much about this book is obviously reading a Toni Morrison book, and secondly, Zadie Smith did the foreword in this book, or the introduction in this book. So I love Zadie Smith. I love Toni Morrison. I think as Black women, those two Black women, Zadie Smith and Toni Morrison, have been able to just bust down doors in literature. And when it comes to talking about putting up the building blocks for literature, oftentimes people talk about white European authors, white American authors, and we have to discuss Toni Morrison. When it comes to the building blocks of just literature, and then when you make it smaller, the building blocks of Black literature, and then when you make it even smaller, you take in the building blocks of Black woman literature, Toni Morrison is right there. And I think it's so fitting for Zadie Smith to do the introduction of this, because also Zadie Smith falls into that number when we take someone in more the present day, someone more the 21st century. 100% that is Zadie Smith. What Zadie Smith is doing is absolutely brilliant, and Zadie Smith, I think, deserves to write an introduction for a Toni Morrison book, because you see all the work that Toni Morrison has been able to do in literature and the effect she has had on Black women, and you see that right through Zadie Smith's writing, and I just think Zadie Smith is so brilliant. Obviously, I think Toni Morrison is so brilliant. So we are going to read Recitative. Now, what do I know about this book? This book is a book that is told with two characters, and you have a reading prompt. Your job is to decide which character is white and which character is Black based off of the stuff that they go through and the stuff that they have been saying. Now, the book does not tell you which one is which. I believe in Zadie Smith's introduction, she tells you who she believes is white or Black, but Toni Morrison never said who was white and who was Black. Let me make sure I got all this right now. Yes, and also I need to add that this is the only short story that Toni Morrison ever wrote. So get your hands on this if you have not. I mean, it's literally the only short story that Toni Morrison has ever written. It has a introduction by Zadie Smith. Like, get your hands on it. Anyways, that's what we're going to be reading in this vlog. I just take you guys along with me until I finish this book. This book is it's a short story. It's a bounded short story. So this will be really quick. I'll have braids the next time y'all see me. Like, I'm not staying like this. I wish I could, but there's no way. Whenever my hair is out and about, I always got a little soliloquy. There's no way I know how to keep my hair this high. Like, I just blew it out, but there's absolutely no, like right now, it's really muggy outside. If I walked outside, my hair would be flat like this. I don't know. I have no problem walking around looking like this. It's just impossible for me. Maybe if I used hairspray, I could possibly keep it up, but then I think that would take away some of the fluffiness of it. But I would have no problem walking outside like this. In my curly state, I kind of do, but I don't know. I just don't, because I don't know how to keep it up. But anyways, I'm going to put some braids in my head, and I will see you guys when I start on it. I don't know if I want to read Zadie Smith's introduction first, because we'll talk about it in the next clip. Okay, peace. Good morning, you guys. We are starting the vlog. First things first, have I talked to you guys since I got my Jeep back? I don't think I've vlogged since I had my Jeep back, but if I have, sorry for repeating myself. I have my Jeep back, thank God. Like, you guys, when I got my Jeep back, it felt like I was in a whole new world. It felt like I was in a whole new world. It felt like I never had this Jeep before in my life. It felt like I had a new car. So that is really, really great. It's really early in the morning. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. And if you are an early riser, you're probably like, Kenya, it's not that early. But I am not an early riser. I am not a morning person. Here's the thing. A lot of people who aren't early risers are usually like oh, I don't even get right till like noon. I'm not that either. I'm not one of those people who want to sleep in all day. That's not me either. I'm a 10 o'clock girl. I am a 10 o'clock girl. I feel like that there's nothing for me to see before the time of 10 o'clock. The only thing that is enjoyable about the morning is if you have errands to run, like think grocery store, Target, stuff like that. If you're up at like 8 o'clock in the morning, you can get that stuff done, and that's what I do enjoy when I'm up early. But you guys, I'm at the post office because yesterday I went to the post office in the afternoon and it was a whole fucking tizzy. White people to the front. I have a question, white people. When someone can't help you because either like this is not their job, the person whose job it is not there, or like the person just cannot help you, what is this thing in you that makes you pester the person who was just trying to do their job? There was this white guy yesterday and he was like literally like almost bullying the post office employee to help him out with PO box stuff, and it's just like, you're being really fucking weird. Like, it's really weird. Like, he was asking like, okay, when you guys get my replacement PO box key, leave it in the box. And the lady's like, the manager had to come out and she was like, we don't do that. Like, he was just being so fucking rude, like as if the world revolved around him. And like, that is the arrogance that a lot of white people walk around with. Like, everyone just owes them something. Everyone should move mountains, part seas, and give up their grandmas in order to make them happy. And it's like, y'all are weird. Like, y'all are, if I was that post office employee, as someone who don't have a job, it's really easy for me to just want to say fuck it. I would have told that person to go to hell. And like, the post office employees were really keeping their cool because I'm sure they get annoying people every day, but like everyone who was in line, even the white people in line, were just like, leave, like leave, you're being weird, you're making everyone physically uncomfortable. Because at the end of the day, all it fucking is a PO box, and you think you're fighting this good fight, you're standing up for yourself, and these people aren't gonna push me over, they're gonna do their fucking job. And it's just like, you're being rude, like no one wants to deal with you. Like, that's what it was yesterday. But that don't change the fact that they lost my package. I'm giving them all this benefit of the doubt, but like, these people lost my damn packages. I had 3 packages for pickup at the post office, and they left me a pickup slip, but they couldn't find my damn packages. So I'm back at the post office, and it was a whole thing. I was in there like an hour for 3 people. You had like the person who just works there, the manager, and the manager's manager, all looking for my fucking package. I feel like when I go in here, it's gonna be some bullshit. But hopefully, maybe I can just open up my P.O. box and there's a key for me to pick up my packages. But I have a feeling ain't nobody look for my packages. And I'm about to come in here. And the thing is, they kept the slip that they gave me. So I'm going to hope that someone who was working like yesterday evening is still in there. But if they not, I just feel like this is going to be a whole mess. And it's already early in the morning. Don't piss me off. But anyways, after that, because I'm up this goddamn early, I'm gonna go get some McDonald's breakfast. Because one thing about me, I love an egg and cheese biscuit. I'm gonna get a coffee from Dunkin', no Ben Affleck, and I'm going to get an egg and cheese biscuit from McDonald's. I want to go to the library, but I owe the library 80 cents. So I don't have 80 cents on me, so there's no point for me to go to the library until I run in their funds. So I'm not doing that. And then I need to write for an hour. Just write. I actually am looking over the pages that I've already written, so I need to do that. But let me go into the post office and stop stalling and see what they got in store for me, child. Okay, peace. So you guys, I am done with the post office. And you guys, my packages were obviously never lost. The person who did my packages yesterday didn't understand the lingo that the post office uses. So they were saying where the package was in the post office, but she thought the number they gave them was my P.O. box. And so she was looking for the wrong package. Like, she was looking for the wrong number the entire time. And so when I came in today, and there's this black lady who always know what she doing, she was like, girl, like, I saw your packages, they big as hell, and I saw them, and so I know they back there. And I'm like, y'all was looking for 40 minutes. Now mind you, she was one of the people back there looking, but it's because the lady gave her the wrong number. So anyways, I had my packages. It was kind of packed in there. It's just because, like, my post office, only one person be at the goddamn thing. And so, like, if somebody comes in, usually if people are just coming in and just send stuff and drop stuff off and pick stuff up, it's no big deal. But when all they take is one person trying to send like 20 certified something for it to just back the whole place up. So I was in there like for a minute, but now I'm about to go get my breakfast. I want a coffee so bad. I never pay for coffee because I think I make perfectly good coffee at home, but you know, there's no issue with doing things new. Oh, you might be wondering, why am I up so early? The reason why I'm up so early is because I'm getting things done to my house, and I just don't want to be there while they're doing the stuff to my house. So that is why I'm up so early. You guys, I ordered some new curtains and I cannot wait for them to get here. I also ordered some artwork. I'm trying to like do my downstairs. I'm trying to do last minute additions to my downstairs before I move on to furnishing my upstairs. I already know everything I want for my upstairs. I just want to get everything done downstairs and then move upstairs and figure out what I'm going to do. So yeah, I'm excited about that, but you guys probably won't see that today. I have a Lululemon package that I need to open up, so I guess I'll open that up with you guys. And then obviously at some point we're going to read Recitative. Anyways, that is that. And I made an executive decision on that book, how I'm going to read that book, but we'll talk about that later because I do have the book in the back, but I have to do some other stuff first before I start reading it. Okay, hey y'all, I'm back home. I'm about to sit and write. This is like my daily thing. I just write every single day. Not every single day, I write 5 times a week. So Monday through Friday I write, and I take the weekends off. So I'm about to pull up my laptop. Speaking of laptops, I bought a new laptop. And it's not gonna get here till like mid-March. Apple, what is that about? What happened to like fast free shipping? Like, what? And like, I didn't get anything special. The only thing I added special to like the base model of what I was getting is I got a longer charger. That's literally it. I didn't add anything extra in memory, nothing extra in space. So I don't know what any of that is about. But anyways, I got 2 donuts. I don't think I'm gonna eat them anytime soon. Every time I go, I went inside the Dunkin'. And every time I go inside the Dunkin', I see the donuts and I'm like, I have to get one, but I don't like donuts that much. And then I got my McDonald's. Yeah, so I'm just gonna write, turn on some music, write, and then I'll see you guys later. I'll start reading after that. I'll be productive and start reading. It's just, I'm in the middle. I'm only in the middle of this video, as you're like, obviously, because I'm filming it. And another video that you guys will see probably Sunday. But I need to read the books for that video on Sunday. So I'm going back and forth. Because like, I know, by the way, I have Recitative. I have it right here. I think earlier, this book has been published in other short stories collections. This is the first time this book has been like bound for you to like write, but like it's not like this was like hidden away. Like this has been published in short story collections. It's just this is the first time you could just like get it yourself. So yeah, and my executive decision that I made was that I'm not gonna read Zadie Smith's introduction because I think Zadie Smith is like breaking down the story and all of that, and I would rather have my own breakdown of the story, my own thoughts, and then see what Zadie Smith has to say. So I'm gonna start by just reading it, and then I will go back to see what Zadie Smith had to say in the introduction. But anyways, let me have breakfast. I'm so sleepy. It takes so long for me to like get right. I am so sleepy. And yeah, I'm actually kind of happy I don't have to make coffee or do breakfast because I'm just not in the mood because I'm sleepy. And then I want to watch Craig of the Creek. Oh my gosh, I love Craig of the Creek, you guys. Like that's like I have cable. I have have cable. I will never get rid of cable. I don't know what to tell you. Like, and they'll have to get rid of cable for me to get rid of cable. I love cable. I love the mindlessness of having cable. I like being able to turn on the TV and turn to Cartoon Network and watch Craig of the Creek or Teen Titans Go or We Bear Bears, We Bear Baby Bears, whatever it's called. I like being able to do that. I like being able to turn it to Nickelodeon and SpongeBob is on. Like, I enjoy that. I enjoy the mindlessness of it. I love turning it to FX and Bob's Burgers is on. I enjoy that. If there's a basketball game, I like seeing if there's a basketball game. Like, I enjoy the, like, because there's no decision making in it. That's the thing. I feel like as like people who take in media, you have to make so many decisions. You go on YouTube, you gotta watch the YouTube video. You go on TikTok, you gotta watch it. But like, cable allows for you to just be like, whatever the fuck is on is just what I'm gonna have to watch. Like, there's no decision, there's no thinking about it. Like, I guess that's like, sometimes I don't want to watch like Teen Titans Go, but it's just like, that's what's on, so guess what? I'm watching Teen Titans Go. Like, there's just nothing, it doesn't make you make decisions. So people who only have streaming services, I don't see how you do it, because I could not imagine every time I wanted to watch TV or I wanted to just put something on in the background, I had to make a decision of what TV show to put in the background. That is too much decision making. Like, no. I like that whatever's on, that's what I watch. So I'm a cable girl. So yeah, Craig of the Creek is about to come on. So after I write for about an hour, I will go turn on Craig of the Creek. And then I will probably read while Craig of the Creek is on. Anyways, I will see you guys later. Hello, you guys. I'm back. I want to give you guys a little mini book haul. These are all of the books I have purchased in the past 2 months. Isn't that crazy? I literally am only going to show you 6 books. In the past 2 months, I have only purchased 6 books, which for me, that is a huge deal, because usually at this point, by the end of February, I would have at least purchased 20 books. I would have at least purchased 20 books, but I only have purchased 6 books. So let me show you them. The first book that I purchased was Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. I think I'm gonna do a Tessa Bailey deep dive going into the summer, so maybe May or June, because I have this book, I have her little murder mystery book, and I have Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. And so I feel like that's 3 books. Perfect way for me to get through Tessa Bailey's books. I'm supposed to read Hook, Line, and Sinker next month, so that won't be in that video, but I think I'm gonna do a Tessa Bailey deep dive to get in that. But I purchased Secretly Yours. So far, Tessa Bailey has been fine for me. I've never disliked a Tessa Bailey book, but it happened one summer. I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I found it severely overrated. Like, it was a perfectly competent romance. I liked it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but like, it's some people's favorite romance book ever, and it never gave that for me, so I don't know. And then her the book I liked the most by her was her like Christmas novella, Window Shopping. I like that book. So Tessa is fine with me. I don't think I'm gonna like Hook, Line, and Sinker, because no one does, so we'll see how that goes. The next thing I bought was by Jojo Moyes, and that's Someone Else's Shoes. This is about a woman who finds a gym bag, and then she takes on the person's life whose gym bag she found, something like that. This was 100% an impulse buy, but not kind of like, I knew I was going to buy it, but I hadn't heard anything about it until it was an option for Book of the Month for February. It was a Book of the Month February option, and I wanted to get it, but I chose a different book for February. I showed you The Writing Retreat, and so I was like, if I find this book, I'm going to get my hands on it. And I found it for 30% off, and Target had buy one get one half off, so I had to get this book. And so like, all in all, this book was probably like 12 bucks, and so it's right up my alley. I love little stories like this, so I got my hands on it. The next book that I got my hands on was Wrong Place, Wrong Time. I have been trying to be a good citizen, trying to, you know, decline my consumerism, put my consumerism on a decline. And I have tried to check this book out of the library for 4 months. For 4 months, this book has been on hold in my library, and they can't get a copy. They cannot get a copy. I haven't moved from the hold, and so I just decided, bite the bullet, 30% off, wrong place, wrong time. This is like a murder mystery thrillery book, so I got my hands on it. I heard really good things about it, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna have a copy. The next book that I bought is a book that every time I go into Barnes & Noble, I have wanted to pick this book up, but never have because I just don't. But this time I was in Barnes & Noble and I didn't buy anything. I was just like, there's nothing that I want. There's nothing that I want. And I was like, but I don't want to waste my goddamn time. And so I was like, it's time to get the book. Careering. I've heard nothing about this book, literally nothing, but I saw it, I always see it on the Barnes & Noble shelf and no one picks it up. Why did I choke? I'm mad, like, but I read the synopsis and the synopsis is really good and I've always wanted to get my hands on it, and so I was like, this is the time. So this is Careering. It has a bookmark in it just because Barnes & Noble was giving out Michelle Obama bookmarks, but I haven't read it. The next other 2 books I got from Barnes & Noble too. This is a book that I actually went hunting for and got my hands on. The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School. I've heard nothing but good things about this book. Is this a middle grade? I don't know. No, she's 16, so it's just regular young adult. I'm still choking. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. I'm so excited to read this book. I should have got to it last year, but I didn't have a copy. And I knew I wanted a copy because anything that's yellow and pink, give it to me. So I knew I wasn't going to check it out from the library because I knew I wanted a copy. I know I'm going to like it. And so I purchased it. And the last book I purchased is 100% because of Monty over at Monty Price. The Force of Such Beauty. Ran across it, had to get it. Like, I don't know. When a book is on, this is also one of my 23 books I want to read in 2023, right? Is it? Is it? Y'all tell me. I think so. And so I got my hands on it and I can't wait to read it. But other than that, those are the 6 books that I have read. I have purchased in 2023. My goal is by the end of 2023, I want to have read all of the books that I purchased in 2023. So I probably would do a whole video dedicated to reading these books, but I don't want any books that I bought this year to follow me into the next year. I'm okay with having the books that I haven't read on my TBR, like right now, the books that I own that I haven't read, I'm okay with those and we'll get through those. But anything new, I need to immediately get through or it's just gonna start stacking and stacking up. So that's a goal. I'm obviously not gonna unhaul them if I don't get to them, but I wanna get to those. And so that's that on that. I've been good on pre-orders in February, believe it or not. I haven't had any pre-orders come to my house, but that's all gonna change on Tuesday because Christina Forrest, The Neighbor Favor, is coming out. And so I pre-ordered that, so that will be at my door. Hopefully, maybe it'll come by the end of this week. Sometimes when you pre-order stuff, they ship them early. It might be, I don't know. I do not know. I do kind of want to go to the bookstore with you guys, but maybe we'll do that tomorrow because this is going to be a 2-day vlog because I still ain't read yet. But I did finish writing. I just posted a video over on my Patreon. I filmed a Real Housewives of Potomac video, but I don't know if I want to post it. I sometimes film videos and then like they never see the light of day. But I am about to watch Craig of the Creek. And I might look through that Potomac video and see if I want to post it. But I will see you guys a little bit later. And I promise you when I see you guys again, I will have at least read 10 pages of the book, okay? Hey, you guys. I have finished Recitative. I am blown away by this short story. I have not read Zadie Smith's introduction because I feel like Zadie Smith is going to break a lot of things down. But I am chomping at the bits to read it because I have to know what Zadie Smith thinks about this short story. Let me tell you what this short story is about. Then let me tell you my thoughts. And then we will discuss. Then I'll read Zadie Smith's introduction. Okay. So this short story follows two girls, one named Roberta and one named Twyla, and they live in an orphanage. One of them lives in an orphanage because her mom seems to be mentally unwell. We don't know what her mom is, but when we meet her mom just seems like she has like some type of mental illness, or she may something seems. She says like the Twyla describes her mom as someone who likes to dance, and so it just seems like she doesn't like everything is not okay with her mom, and so her mom can't take care of her, so she goes off to the orphanage. Then you have Roberta comes to the orphanage after Twyla, and Roberta's mom is sick and can't take care of her, and that is how they get to know each other. At first they don't like each other, but then they grow this really, really close bond, and you just read about them in the orphanage. And then Roberta leaves the orphanage to go back and live with her mom, and they meet up again when Twyla is working at a gas station, but they don't really, kind of a misconnection type thing. They don't get close. Then they meet up again when both of them are married and have children. Well, you'll see Roberta doesn't necessarily really have children, but like they have children they take care of, and they're adults now and they're married. Then they meet up again once their children are a little bit older and things have happened. So you just see these two people at different stages of their life talking about the things that they went through at this orphanage. This has left such an effect on me, and I do not know why. This book is speculative. This book is so interesting. I was reading the synopsis of this book, and it says that Toni Morrison described this short story as her removing race from a book where race is so central to the book. So when you're reading this, I decided who I thought was black. I'll tell you who I thought was black, and then once I read Zadie Smith's introduction, if we disagree on that, I will discuss. But I assumed Twyla was white. From the very beginning, I assumed Twyla was white because of the way she just talked about Roberta, the way she saw life, the things about her mom. I thought Twyla was white, and I thought Roberta was black. And then as the book continues to go, I still thought that was the case. I'm not 100% sold on it. And so thinking those two things, it just makes this story, it's so good. I don't even know how to explain why this story is so good. There's a character named Maggie who is this lady that gets bullied at the orphanage, who they say is mute, and she's like a big part of this story, and like I can't explain it to you. You have to read it, but yeah, Toni Morrison did the goddamn thing. Like, this is a short story to me. Like, short stories are supposed to leave like a punch, and this book leaves a punch. This book makes you question everything because Twyla is the only person narrating this book. We never get Roberta's point of view about anything. Twyla is the only person talking in this book, like, from herself, giving her point of view. And so it makes you question everything that happened in this entire short story, because you don't know how reliable our narrator is. You don't know how reliable their experiences are. And that plays into the idea of race. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. So yes, it took me this whole video to finally read the short story, but I read it. I give it 5 out of 5 stars, period. But we need to go read Zadie Smith's introduction. And I feel like me and Zadie Smith are going to disagree. I feel like I looked at the introduction a little bit, like trying to find where the story started, and Zadie Smith is breaking it down, child. So I feel like we might disagree. I will see if Zadie Smith convinces me something different, because I'm willing to be swayed. So I'm going to read it, and I will see you guys back. Okay? Guys, I am in the middle of reading Zadie Smith's introduction, and I pull my highlighter out. When I pull my highlighter out, I have officially become a pretentious English major that I try so hard not to be. But I'm in my bag. First of all, Zadie Smith, the woman that you are. Like, oh my gosh, I want to take a class with Zadie Smith so fucking bad. I need to meet this woman. But what Zadie Smith is doing is just so interesting, because she's understanding exactly what you as the reader go through reading this book. She's literally breaking this book down piece by piece and getting in your mind of what you were thinking as you were reading this book. Because I told you guys who I thought was white and who I thought was black, she's breaking down the thoughts that you have to have in order to think one side is black and one side is white. So there's a section in the book where Roberta's mom doesn't want to shake Twyla's hand, and to me that is like the pinnacle of what I think you believe about black people or white people. I think if you believe Twyla's mom to be white, you it's what you think about uppity church going black people. That's what, if you think that Roberta is black and Twyla's white, if Roberta's black mom doesn't shake Twyla's hand, it says everything you think about like church going uppity black people. Because let's keep in mind, the only reason why we're told Roberta is in the orphanage is because her mother is sick, you know? And so it says, the reason why I thought Roberta's mom was black was because it's just like, I know how it's like church, because we're told that her mom goes to church all the time. And like she has like a cross and, you know, she reads the Bible. And like, that's what I think about uppity black church going people. Like they would look down on someone like Twyla, who is a poor white girl, and she has a poor white mom who likes to dance all night and don't take care of her child. I believe she wouldn't shake her hand. But if you believe Twyla is black, you will believe that Roberta's mom doesn't shake Twyla's hand because Twyla black and Roberta's mama don't like black people, you know? And so it's just this interesting idea. Another thing in this book that made me believe Twyla was black, was white. She didn't know who Jimi Hendrix was. And yes, Twyla was living in a small town, but I just believe when it comes to like championing black musicians and someone who was as big as Jimi Hendrix and was doing the stuff Jimi Hendrix do, I felt like that story would make it to a small town. Like if we were in a small black town, Jimi Hendrix would be like, you will be cheering Jimi Hendrix on because that's just how blackness is. Like you root for black people to win. So the fact that Twyla didn't know who Jimi Hendrix was. And then there's also a scene, Zadie Smith hasn't gotten to this, but I'm gonna tell you some more of my thoughts. There's also a scene where Twyla walks up to Roberta and Roberta acts like she doesn't want to talk to Twyla, and Roberta's sitting with two dudes who we're going to assume are the same race as her, and she doesn't say anything to Twyla. And it's not the fact that Roberta doesn't say anything to Twyla that makes me decide their race. It's actually Twyla walking up to Roberta that makes me think that Twyla is a white person, because I don't believe if Roberta was white and she was sitting with two white dudes, Twyla, as a black woman, would just walk up to them. I think she would fear for her fucking life. And so, and she's not 100% sure that that's actually Roberta. Like, she could just be like, I don't know. So the thought that this black woman would just walk up to three white people at a rest stop, and two of them she don't even know, and one of them she thinks she might know, just seems crazy. But I think Twyla is so oblivious to race as a white person that she just walks up to these black people and is just like, what the hell they gonna do to me? And so that is also, I think, 2 points of the story that made me decide what I was thinking. But you as the reader could think something totally different. That's what makes this so good. And Zadie Smith is talking about how Toni Morrison as a writer was so intentional. And what I love that Zadie Smith did, she was talking about how many books Toni Morrison has written. She wrote 11 books and a short story. And for someone who had a career as long as Toni Morrison, that is nothing at all. Like, how many, like, we did a whole deep dive on Tiffany D. Jackson, my last video, and Tiffany D. Jackson has written, what, like 6 books already and 2 short stories, and like probably even more stuff that maybe I didn't get to. Like, and she hasn't been writing for that long, you know? Like, Tiffany D. Jackson probably has 40, 50 more years of writing, you know? And so, and she's already written almost more work than Toni Morrison, but it says what it says about Toni Morrison is that attention to detail, everything having to be so intentional because of how little work she put up. She put so much responsibility on herself to always rise to the occasion, to always be great, to always speak to something. And that's what makes this so good, because you trust Toni Morrison as you are, as the reader, are breaking down every single sentence. But you trust that Toni Morrison wanted you to do that. You trust her as a writer, that she put so much effort into every single word she put on the page. You as the reader are not wasting your time putting just as much effort into dissecting every single word, every single action, and I love it. Like, I have my highlighter. I love it. Toni Morrison, the woman you are. Zadie Smith, the woman you are, for breaking this down. Like, Black women. What can I say? Black women. What can I say? Like, this is Black History Month. I will see you guys later once I finish, probably. Okay? Peace. I'm still reading. I'm sitting here and I'm reading. What I really appreciate, this isn't even about this book. Zadie Smith is talking about how people get uncomfortable being told history about, like, slavery and oppression and all of this stuff, and how so many people harbor on feeling comfortable when they hear about terrible things. And it brings me into the current about how people don't like slave movies, people don't like civil rights movies, people don't like, I hear people on BookTube say this, people don't like Black stories that are sad, people don't like Black stories that have trauma. And if you know me, you know I am totally against that. And Zadie Smith really breaks that down in her introduction as to why I'm against it. All you literally have to do is listen. People are telling stories that happen to people. People suffered through stuff. And all an author or a director or a writer is asking you to do is listen. They're not asking you to be a part of it. They're not even putting any responsibility onto you. They're just asking you to listen. And what are we if we don't allow people to tell their stories? We as people, all we want to be is listened to. I am making this video because I want you to listen to me. People are on TikTok because they want people to listen to them. We all want people to listen to us. It's how we validate our existence. And so when people write these stories that can be uncomfortable to hear, all you're doing at the very end of it is listening to it. Nothing is happening to you in terms of, like, actual discomfort. Like, that's all a feeling. Like, you're not actually being a slave, turned into a slave. You're not actually experiencing the civil rights movement or Jim Crow or anything else. All they're asking you to do is listen. So how small can your mind be that you hear about the history or you hear about people's stories and all you can think about is you, how you are affected by this? Like, history and people's stories are so much more than just you. And that's what Zadie Smith really shows in this book. And she talks about why Toni Morrison wrote the stories that Toni Morrison wrote and the way she wanted people to learn about Black culture and what's so important about Toni Morrison's book, but as well as everyone who writes books that are about Black experiences. It's this idea that Black authors are showing that you cannot deceive us. So much of history is rooted in so much deception. So much of the things that people say about Black people have so much deception in them, so much dishonesty. And when Black authors are writing about Black experience, whether they be traumatic, they are fighting against deception. They're fighting against people who have been dishonest. And for people to belittle that as just Black trauma stories, it's really disheartening. It really is. And Zadie Smith really shows that it is no author's job to tell happy stories. That's my biggest critique of people, of like people who review books or people who talk about Black stories. If you believe it is a Black author's responsibility to tell happy stories, you fucked up the game. You've done the math wrong. It is no Black author's responsibility to tell happy stories. It is Black author's responsibility to tell the truth, to tell stories that are grounded in truth. You know, I'm reading Amari and the Night Brothers right now for another video, and although the book is fantastical, and y'all know I'm not a fantasy girl, what makes the book so fucking good is that it's grounded in so much truth. Amari is such a true black girl, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, you can write any type of story, but the responsibility is to ground those stories in some type of truth. It is not their responsibility to make you feel good, to make you feel happy. All you doing is reading it. Like, at the end of the day, all you doing is reading, watching, or listening to a story. No one has to give a good goddamn how it makes you feel. No one is hurting you, and no one is trying to hurt you. I hate this idea of critique we have now, where people are making it seem like the people who create art are going out of their way to try and hurt you. And the way they talk about the stories, like, I just felt uncomfortable. I can't believe I had to sit through this, or I can't believe I had to read through this. No one is trying to hurt you. No one is making art to hurt you. And when you try to make, at least most people are not, of course. There are some people who are being nasty, but and when you take a work that is done in good faith and you turn it into something that you're trying to say is violently trying to do something wrong to you, someone making a slave movie is trying to hurt you? Be serious. And that's what Zadie Smith has the English to explain that I never could. Like, when people are making these stories that y'all have disgustingly labeled black trauma stories, you make it seem like the people who are making these set out to really hurt you. That does not change the fact that I literally just told you guys seconds ago that it is the responsibility of authors to tell the truth, to make stories that are truthful. And I have problems with certain stories that do center around the trauma of black people. They're not intentional. And when I say things like something is not intentional, that's what I mean by you're telling a dishonest story. There's no honesty in the story. There's no intention behind what you're doing. And that's what I have a problem with. But that's critique. I am not telling them they don't have the right to make this story. But I do feel they have the responsibility to tell the truth, and that's what they're not doing. And that's what someone like Toni Morrison or Zadie Smith or a Gloria Naylor understand. Like, it's the responsibility to tell the truth because so many lies have been spread. Anyways, I will come back with my final thoughts. I will not come back again without final thoughts, okay? But anyways, I wanted to get that out of the way. Oh, y'all thought I was saying I wasn't gonna come back until I was finished. I lied. I'm back. Because Zadie Smith just hit the nail on the head of what this book is about. This book that Toni Morrison wrote, this short story that she wrote, is about the people that we leave behind in order to search for our identities. It's the people who we have to belittle in order to make ourselves feel bigger. And that's why Maggie is the most important element of this story. We spend so much time going back and forth about Twyla and Roberta when Maggie is the person who is important. Maggie is the person who has been left behind. We are so quick to try to find people to turn into nobodies. Zadie Smith has an amazing paragraph about capitalism, and she talks about how, I'm just going to read it. It is always, she talks, in talking about capitalism, she says, it is always looking for new markets, new sites of economic vulnerability, a potential exploitation, new Maggies. Maggie is in the story. New human beings whose essential nature is to be nobody. Capitalism is always looking for new human beings whose essential nature is to be nobody. And Zadie Smith goes on to continue. Twyla and Roberta, if they were living in the now, would go march for women's rights. They would march for women's reproductive rights and all of this stuff. And Zadie Smith talks about all while wearing a $4 t-shirt made by some woman in a sweat factory, in a sweatshop. And that is the point of this book. And that's what people really should interrogate how you have all these beliefs, all these ideas about your personhood, and how quickly you are willing to turn other people into nobodies in order to validate your existence. So, and I see it all the time. People believing that they're entitled to new clothes. Like, I have to shop on Shein because I'm entitled to new clothes. I deserve to have a new wardrobe. That's called turning other people who have to make this stuff into nobodies in order to validate who you are as a person. The Maggies of the world. Twyla and Roberta treated Maggie terribly. Watched Maggie be treated terribly. But because their existence was so bad, it didn't matter. Because they took comfort in the fact that someone was lower than them. You having new clothes all the time, that's you taking comfort in the fact that, ooh, I might be oppressed, but guess what? I got new clothes. There's someone lower than you. You're taking comfort in the fact that there's someone lower than you who can make you $2 shirts. And that's what this book is really, really hitting on. Toni Morrison is brilliant. You're spending so much of the book going back and forth between Twyla and Roberta. And it's the Maggie of the story that's really the important part. The people we throw away. Twyla and Roberta spend so much of the book casting judgment on so many people and trying to make so many people lower than them. But guess what? They have their oppression. They're in an orphanage. Their life is so bad. But look at how they're discarding of other people. Look at how they're treating other people. How they're allowing other people to be treated. Just because they're oppressed. Toni Morrison, the woman you are. I think I will finish this. By the way, her introduction is not short. Her introduction is longer than the goddamn book. So, the short story. So, but I will finish it. I think. Unless Zadie Smith drops another bomb on me. Okay? Peace. I finished and I'm going to end this video. I'm giving this book 5 out of 5 stars. The introduction with Zadie Smith and the actual short story, Recitative, by Toni Morrison. This is my favorite book so far of the year. This exact binding. Go get it. I absolutely loved everything about this book. I agreed with absolutely everything that Zadie Smith said. Toni Morrison gagged and gooped me. This book, if I could write my introduction, this book is not about the black and white. It's not about the black and white. This book is a take on the human condition, and this book is about what gets lost when we're so quick to try to make things black and white. This book is about the seedy underbelly of racial injustice. This book is about what happens when the idea of poverty, when the idea of being rich, the idea of being poor, destitute, all of this stuff. What happens when that's not just a race thing? What happens when we muddy up who's black and who's white? What is left? And is the thing that is left is just people who are harmed? I just loved it. I just absolutely loved it. This was a few hours well spent. I highlighted so freaking much. Yeah. 5 out of 5 stars. So I am going to end this. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Happy birthday to Toni Morrison. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.